What's up, everybody? Time for some more rSpace. Am I the a-hole for taking my now ex-girlfriend's car and phone and kicking her out? I know how bad the title sounds, but hear me out. I, 28 male, proposed to my girlfriend Sarah, 26 female, last week. Now, we've been dating for 5 years and lived together in my house. With her being a teacher and teachers being paid so little, I've always supported her by paying for an extra car for her, an extra phone line for her, and letting her use her paycheck to have fun with while I pay for all of the bills. Anyway, we finish eating, and I get down on one knee and ask her the most important question of my life, and she just looks at me. And then she looks behind me to my best friend Mike, obviously a fake name, and says, "Aren't you going to say anything?" He asks her what he's supposed to say. She gets really angry and starts yelling that they've been in love since the beginning and that he was a jerk for letting it get to this point. And I'm freaking out yelling because I think my best friend has been sleeping with the woman I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. He's so confused, he's freaking out and looking at me shaking his head. He's absolutely adamant that they've never been alone together for more than a couple of minutes. Her best friend Nicole, again obviously fake name, pulls Sarah aside and asks her what's going on. Sarah just keeps going on and on about how she was sure Mike would love her one day and how it was really mean of me to propose. At that point, I've had enough. I just tell everyone to get out. I make Nicole take Sarah with her, and Mike just keeps apologizing because he didn't know. That night, I make the decision to cut her off and get her out of my house. I spend the night packing up all of her crap. When it's all boxed up, I bring it to the garage and spend the rest of the night changing passwords. The next day, I call Nicole and ask her to bring Sarah back so we can talk. When they pull up, Nicole in her car and Sarah in the car I pay for. I use my phone app to disable her cell phone so she can't use it, and I take the keys from her. I explain that everything she owns is in the boxes in the garage, and that I was taking my phone and car back and that she needed to get her things off of my property. She starts freaking out that I can't do this to her because she doesn't have anywhere else to go or any other way to get around. I just walk back in the house with a parting shot of, "You should have thought of that before you tried to use me to get to my best friend." It's now been a week, and Nicole won't stop calling or texting me. Apparently, Sarah has been staying with Nicole, but her roommates don't want her there anymore, and she doesn't have anywhere else to go. She has also tried to call Mike, but he blocked her on everything that night because the whole situation creeped him out. I don't feel like I'm an a-hole, quite the opposite, but even Mike said she may have a mental health issue. What say you, Reddit? ETA, everything is in my name and I paid for them. Chairmonka93 has a first response. Not the a-hole. She's 26. She should have her situation figured out. Sheeps and Birds has the next judgment. And she had all of her paycheck for herself, for years. If she didn't save part of it, not the a-hole. Jinx Drain wants to chime in. Understandable, but you may be legally obligated to evict her through legal means. I mean, what else would you do? She's been using you. She doesn't sound super stable, to be honest. I'm sorry you're going through it. Disregarding the eviction issue, not the a-hole. One more judgment from Boone DDD, not the a-hole. Yeah, I'm sorry, but leading you on for 5 years to get with your best friend who didn't even know she loved him, all while living in your house, using your money, and definitely using you for 5 whole years? Yeah, strong not the a-hole. Recommend therapy and move on. Even just saying no and breaking up would have been the best option. No normal sane person would do any of this. Pure crazy. Moving on. Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend she can't stay at my house with my husband when I'm out of town? 36 female. Live with my husband and child. My best friend, Stacy, 37 female, has been staying with us the last few weeks while her home undergoes renovation. I met my best friend in college and we are pretty opposite when it comes to a lot of things. She's far more carefree, particularly with men. She loves dating committed men. Wives, fiancés, or girlfriend, she doesn't care and will pursue for the thrill. There have been a couple occasions where she's been confronted publicly by spouses and she just laughs it off after the fact. Although she can be a bit flirtatious, she's never actually done anything totally out of line with my husband, but she has with the boyfriend of a mutual friend. Now the issue. I'm going to Las Vegas in a couple of days to see Usher. Love him. And I'll be gone for 5 days. I told her that I would prefer if she stayed elsewhere while I'm gone. She asked why, and I told her it was because of her history of going after men in relationships and I wasn't comfortable with her there while I'm gone for so long. She got really defensive, hurt, and started to cry. She insisted that she values our friendship and would never violate that, but I held firm and said that this is just one of those things where I'd rather be safe than sorry. She'll be staying at another friend's house. I feel bad, but I also don't think I'm going to change my mind. My husband doesn't care either way and said she should understand why I feel that way. But my sister and a couple of our mutual friends said that I should trust her, and even if I don't, I should trust my husband. Am I the a-hole? Update. I spoke with Stacy after work tonight, and it was tough. She saw this thread and was upset that I brought it to Reddit and allowed strangers to judge her. She also acknowledged that what she does is wrong and said she is working on it. Hasn't been with anyone in a while, and she has issues no one understands. She said that more than anything, she's hurt because I really thought she'd sleep with my husband despite not trying to do so in the over 15 years we've all known each other. I brought up things she's done in the past that has added to my discomfort, and she insisted that it was innocent and she never meant anything by it. She said she's going to leave permanently because she doesn't feel welcome knowing she isn't trusted, and she doesn't want to stay where she's not wanted. She went silent for what seemed like forever and then said, "I think you did the right thing. If the situation was reversed, I would ask you to leave too." Then says again that she has issues and she's not sure why she does it. She started to cry, and I told her that whatever she's going through can be worked on and she can talk to someone who can help her sort out her feelings and give her some insight, and she said she would work on herself. We hugged it out, and I told her I'll be here for her while she works through it all. Our first judgment comes from SCSTXRN. Not the a-hole. For people saying, "Don't you trust your husband?" You know she is a man-eater who enjoys ruining committed relationships. He knows she is your friend. Why would you intentionally put them in a position where he has to ask her to leave while you are gone and tell you why he asked her? What if she made false accusations against him, either in response to him putting her out or another way to mess up your relationship? If she has changed, maybe this will be enough motivation for her to figure out why commitment to other people is such a turn-on for her. If she hasn't, not the a-hole for proactively protecting your family. But I too wonder why you let her stay with you in the first place, given her total lack of shame previously. Good on you for putting your husband, your family, and the future of your relationship ahead of her short-term preferences. One Mike Nation has the next judgment. Not the a-hole, but why are you friends with someone who you believe will sleep with your husband? Next judgment comes from Crappy Name. I didn't take it as will sleep with her husband, but could attempt to sleep with her husband. People on here seem to be ignoring the environment and are relying completely on willpower. If you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, they'll tell you not to go to bars and hang out, even if you aren't drinking. Why? Because you're more likely to let your environment overtake your willpower. If her friend has a history that leaves OP uncomfortable, then control the environment. If her friend stays, then there is a chance of something bad happening, even if the intentions were never there. Whatever. But if her friend doesn't stay there, then there is no chance of something bad happening. It doesn't have to be a moral judgment of her friend's character and intentions, just a pragmatic assessment of the situation. No need for anyone to get butthurt over it. One more judgment from Jeepers Creepers 74. She openly pursues committed men. She has dated a friend's boyfriend in the past. She has flirted with your husband. What on earth has your friend done specifically to earn the trust everyone is saying you're required to give her? And while you may trust your husband, why on earth would you put him in this situation? Not the a-hole. On to the next one. Am I the a-hole for giving my husband only 3 days to return my jewelry set that he gave his brother's wife as a wedding gift? I, female 36, have always been into jewelry. I used to own a variety of jewelry sets, but due to unfortunate circumstances, most of them had to go, so I could afford rent after I lost my job. My husband never got lucky to land a job since 2013. Thankfully, now I have a stable job that gets us both from month to month. I also kept one set of jewelry which is the most valuable, whether monetarily and or sentimentally, since it's part of the family heirloom. The set includes a pair of earrings, a bracelet, and a necklace. All gold material, and again, they are worth a decent amount of money. My brother-in-law has been with then-girlfriend for 10 years, and they recently got married. It was a huge deal for the family. My husband wanted to get them a decent wedding gift and tried borrowing money from friends and neighbors, but got turned down. He kept stressing out about it for weeks, and just the other day, the wedding was days prior, and the groom and bride are off on their honeymoon, I discovered that my jewelry set was gone. I freaked after my husband nonchalantly said he gifted it to his brother's wife as a wedding gift. I was fuming. I asked how could he, and he replied that he had no money and nothing of value to give to the newlyweds, and besides that set has been sitting in the closet since July 2019, and I never wore any piece of it, so he figured I'd forgotten about it. But he said he'll figure a way to pay me or get me a similar one since he starts working, but I very loudly told him absolutely not, and gave him 3 days, just 3 days to return the set or I'll stop paying for everything in the apartment. He looked puzzled, like he couldn't believe I was serious. He said he doesn't want to contact his brother or his wife and retrieve the set or go get it himself. He tried to twist the argument and offer the same solutions as mentioned above, but I refused. I said I just want my set back, and he has 3 days only. He kept talking about how tasteless and disrespectful it'd be for him to retrieve a wedding gift, and said this will damage his relationship with his brother and family, and also how impossible it was to retrieve the set in 3 days when the couple are on their honeymoon in another country. Am I the a-hole for this? He said I was financially abusing him by threatening to stop paying for anything knowing I'm the breadwinner. Also, he refused to give me their new contact info to retrieve the set myself. First judgment from Blood Reina. Not the a-hole. The financial abuser is your husband. Get the set back and kick him out anyway. The OP responds, let me just say that what he said to me was shocking because abuse is a heavy word. I've dealt with it in all forms with my family, and to be coming from him is just so maddening. Azzy Meg weighs in next. Keep in mind that abusers often accuse their own victims of abusing them, so I'd take a hard, long look at this relationship now. It sounds like he's been mooching off you since 2013, and now he's dropping the abuse word so he can guilt trip you into allowing him to mooch further. Good Girl's Grace chimes in next. This is classic victim blaming. OP, if I were you, I'd lawyer up and prepare for a divorce. His financial abuse has been going on for way too long. The only way this relationship could work is if he gets a job and you guys go into counseling to work on his issues. And even that isn't guaranteed to save your marriage. Either he gets a job now, or he loses his wife. His choice. Next judgment from Shakespeare 2. Not the a-hole. And the sad news is, I'm pretty sure your marriage is over. How is your husband not able to find a job since 2013? How is it possible to think gifting a family heirloom without consulting you would be a good idea? DOP responds to how is your husband not able to find a job since 2013? How is it possible to think gifting a family heirloom without consulting you would be a good idea? I don't know. I mean, based on what he told me, all potential employers had an issue with his disability. His left arm is injured but partly functional. That has taken a toll on us for years. Corlat Alaint weighs in next. Not the a-hole. Jesus Christ. Your husband is not unlucky with a job. He's actually a very lucky man that he found someone to mooch from and is not going to change the situation ever. He doesn't want a job. He will never repay you or buy you a new one when he gets a job. His whole life plan is to mooch off you forever. Please, find yourself a divorce lawyer. This guy is a dead weight on you and will never be a partner. Our last judgment from Borrego Pass 2. Not the a-hole. First of all, your husband has been unemployed since 2013. Tell him to get off his butt and get a job. Any job. There's just no excuse to be unemployed for that long. Secondly, he must be missing more than a few brain cells if he thinks what he did was acceptable. It is not. You have the power in the relationship. Use it. And you have.